I'm Mike Uyak. I love to try new things, and I've had culinary adventures all around the world as well as right at home. I've had really wonderful food, as well as some really horrible food. I'd like to share some of my adventures with you, and we'll see if I have what it takes to fix whatever goes wrong. This is Recipe Redemption.
Good morning, Redeemers, and welcome to another episode of Recipe Redemption. Now today, we're delving into the market of mystery again. It's a really good day for this. It's a really good day, period. The sun is out, the birds are chirping, if you can hear them over the plane that's flying overhead, and I've got funky food. Specifically, this funky food. This is a durian, the much beloved, much maligned fruit, primarily grown in Southeast Asia. That is intimidating on so many different levels. First of all, just look at the thing. I mean, ow, ow, ow. Really sharp spines all the way around. This is about a 5.5 pounder. They come a lot bigger, but I didn't want a whole lot of this. So, first off, it just looks intimidating. That falls on your head, you're gonna die. But the thing that makes this notorious, oh, I see, is, let's see if I can actually just rip it open. Oh, I can. There was a split in the rind. Is the smell. It is pungent. Now, some people describe this variously as smelling like sweat socks, like a gym bag, like a urinal, like feces, like decaying flesh, or some combination thereof. I don't think it's that bad, but the thing with it is it is pervasive. It spreads everywhere, which is why in places like Singapore, in particular, fairly, let's just say, law-heavy society, you can't. It is actually illegal to take this onto the subway trains. I think it's like a $500 fine if you take this on the subway train because the whole train smells, and not everyone loves this aroma. Now, to me, it's not that bad. There's almost sort of a, I mean, there's a fruitiness. I mean, it's a fruit, but there's almost sort of a, to me, a kind of a meatiness to it. It's, to me, the durian I've had in the past, this is actually not that bad. The riper durians that I've had in the past, they have a fruity aroma, but it's tinged with garlic to me, which is weird. Now the fruit, once you split it open, it basically has this very soft custardy flesh around a seed, and really custardy. There's a really rich, and they're slippery, a rich creamy flavor. It's really hard to describe, but because it is really quite custard-like with just a little bit of fibrousness to it, that alone is enough to put a lot of people off who are kind of more sensitive to textures. But it's actually quite good. There's a whole fruit salad of different tropical fruit flavors that are all kind of combined in here. There's a little bit of citrus, not a whole lot. It's not very acidic, but a tiny bit of citrus. There's almost banana. Yeah, primarily like an orange and a banana got together, but mm, there's a little bit of like a papaya. Again, papaya tends to be more astringent than this really is. I don't personally think it's that bad, but some people absolutely hate it. And some people love it, which is why devotees consider the durian to be the king of fruits. But aside from eating it, which is, to my mind, actually quite enjoyable, because I like custardy things, I like fruity things, I even like garlic, maybe, I don't know, garlic with fruity things, but it's really not that bad to me. I actually like it. But what else can you do with it other than eating it? Well, we're going to explore that today. Part of using this is taking advantage of the texture that you have, the texture and the flavor. Because it is already softened custardy, it lends itself well to being mixed into things. So let me finish removing these from the seeds, and let's get cooking.
First thing I'm making is a durian ice cream, and I didn't start off with the French custard style ice cream base. I felt the durian itself is thick enough and creamy enough that I didn't really need to, gild the lily by adding egg yolks. So I have about 3/4 of a cup of half and half, and about a half a cup of whipping cream. Little bit of sugar, probably about a 1/4 cup there, and a pinch of salt. And then the durian, I probably used maybe half, somewhere between half and 3/4 of a cup of durian fruit. And I probably should have picked through it and take some of the strands out, because even after blending, there's a few of the fibers that remained afterwards, but it's fine. Just blended it up. After 10 minutes in the ice cream maker, ta-da, ice cream. Just scoop this out, put it into a container, and tossed it in the fridge for a couple hours to harden. Now onto my durian muffins. Here in my mixing bowl, I have about a cup of all-purpose flour, a cup of brown sugar, about half a teaspoon of salt, some durian, probably about a cup, and oh yeah, I also have some baking soda in there, about 3/4 of a teaspoon of that. Toss that in the blender along with half a cup of that is actually coconut cream. Give it some richness, and 2 eggs. Add those in, and as it turns out, this ended up being kind of dry, so I added a little bit of water to this as well, plus a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. Blend until smooth. Then I'm going to pour this into a well-lubricated muffin tin. This makes about 6 muffins, filling it a little bit over halfway full. I want to give them a little chance to rise. I baked at 325 until they look something like this.
So that was fun. The house doesn't smell nearly as bad as I was expecting it to. There's a little something in the air, which is why I did this when Chris was out of town. The muffins, I think they could have gone even a little bit longer. They kind of collapsed as they cooled, but still not too bad. They have just a little bit of that funkiness to them. Quite moist. The fruitiness is more subtle, but it's a sweetness that comes. You can sort of tell it comes from something other than just the added sugar. That fruit sweetness does come through, even if you don't necessarily, if you didn't know that it was durian in here. There's just a little something something. Ice cream. It's a little bit of some of the fibrous stuff, so it might have been better to actually mash this through a sieve, but that durian flavor that some people love comes through really strongly in this. Um, mm. Yeah, it's really, really rich. Even without the addition of egg. Because the durian fruit itself is so custard-like, it's very, very rich all on its own. That becomes a very, very rich ice cream. Now, obviously as a fruit, you think of durian as an ingredient in a dessert. But is there a way that one could actually use it for savory applications? I say yes. Behold, durian Alfredo. Basically what I did was sauteed some mushrooms until they were nice and brown. Deglazed the pan with some white wine. Probably about a couple cups worth of white wine. Let it reduce down by half. And then added about a cup of durian pulp that I had mashed with a spoon. Stir it around, and then added some salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. And that's it. Because it's so rich, because it's so creamy, the durian almost, well, it replaced the bechamel that normally goes into the cream sauce that eventually becomes the Alfredo sauce. So all I had to do, once I got the durian sauce to the right consistency, was add some grated Parmesan cheese, stirred it around until it was well incorporated, and then fold in some fettuccine pasta that I had boiling off on the side, and with a little bit of the pasta boiling water to sort of loosen the sauce up, give it a little gloss. Stir that up and serve. And it's it's a thick, thick sauce. Mm. 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 That is a surprisingly good dish. Little bit of fruitiness that comes through still. Little something like, this isn't traditional fettuccine Alfredo, and it's not. But the richness definitely comes through, and I think it works well, and here's the reason why I think it works well. Because it's got that sort of cheesy funkiness, and it's got that sort of overtone of garlic flavor on top of the fruit flavor. It sort of kind of lends itself to the Italian side of the kitchen. So it sort of does lend itself to being an Alfredo sauce. And coupled with some mushrooms and some actual cheese, it makes a surprisingly good sauce. That is actually really good. So, I encourage you to get a little funky. Try a durian. Be brave. Bring one into your home. And try cooking some for yourself. There are a few myths and misconceptions about durian that need to be dispelled. I think with something that has a reputation that durian has is going to automatically have some stories told about it. One is that you shouldn't eat durian with alcohol in any way because it'll cause a toxic reaction in your body or whatever. It's not true. It's just, it doesn't have any, because it doesn't have any toxic ingredients in it. My theory is that somebody made something like a durian margarita or some sort of mixed drink that and included a durian puree in the recipe. Someone liked it, drank too much, got sick, and said, "Oh, it had to be the alcohol, the combination of alcohol and durian," when in fact it was probably just the alcohol that caused them to get sick. So, yeah. There's also the myth that durian causes one's blood cholesterol to go up. So if you have high cholesterol to begin with, you shouldn't eat durian. Durian, durian doesn't contain any cholesterol. It's a fruit. It has fats, but they are primarily monounsaturated fats, and these may actually help lower an individual's low density lipoprotein, or the bad cholesterol. They said that you shouldn't eat it with dairy. Absolutely don't eat durian and dairy at the same time, because it'll give you a heart attack. I don't know where that comes from, because, and I don't know why that myth persists, considering that durian ice cream, like the kind that I just made, is the most popular way to enjoy the fruit. And so I think all these people who are buying durian ice cream are not keeling over dead. Pretty sure that's not, that's a complete myth. Bottom line is, don't believe the hype about foods. There are all sorts of ingredients that have a reputation, and until you actually try it for yourself and experience the full, all five senses experience of the ingredient, you never really know what's true and what isn't. Sure, read up on it, do your research, but at the end of the day, you got to try it for yourself. And I'll say 4 times out of 5, you'll discover that at the very least, it wasn't as scary as you thought it was going to be. And at least 50% of the time, it'll end up being something that's actually pretty good. So with that, I'm going to eat all this up so the house doesn't smell. I'd like to thank you for watching. And so until next time, I'm Mike Uyak, and this is Recipe Redemption. Thanks for watching.